All right, Unit 6, Day 4 homework tutorial. I'll work a select few problems with you all to help get the process started. Number 1 through 8 wants you to simplify the radicals. That means we want exact answers, no decimals. To do that, what I would do is first break apart the number underneath the radical into multiples. So the multiples that make up 32 could be 4 and 8. And 4 happens to be a perfect square, so that's good. We want to keep that one. 8 can be broken up even further into 4 times 2, so that means I'll have that first existing 4 plus the 4 from my 8, and then 2. So altogether, 4 times 4 times 2 would make up 32. And then if I see a pair of numbers, which I do, the pair of 4s, we are going to circle that pair, sacrifice one 4, and the other 4 will run outside the house. So at the end of the day, you'll have 1 4 outside the house and still have a 2 inside the house. So it would be 4 square root of 2. Number 3 would be the same process. If I break 33 up into its factors, I would have 3 times 11. And both of those numbers are prime, meaning they are only divisible by 1 in itself. And I don't see any twins. So square root of 3 cannot be simplified anymore. So that's as low as it's going to go. On number 5, I would break apart 180, leaving the 5 outside alone right now. 180 would be 9 and 20. And then 9 is a perfect square, so that can stay. It looks lovely. I can break apart 20 into 5 and 4. So 9 is a perfect square, 4 is a perfect square, and then you have 5. So anytime you break apart a perfect square, you're going to have two numbers that multiply and give you that number. So in 9's case, those two numbers are 3's. And in 4's case, those two numbers are 2's. And then you have the 5. So again, you have a pair of twins, a pair of twin 3's, and a pair of twin 2's. In each pair, you're going to sacrifice a number, and one will run outside the house. I got to sacrifice 1, 2, and one runs outside the house. So I have a 5 already outside. Now I have a 3 and a 2 that have joined it. And inside the house, there is still a lonely 5. So all the numbers outside will get multiplied. 5 times 3 is 15, times 2 is 30. So 30 square root of 5 is the final answer. All right, and the square root of 400. I know that 400 is composed of 4 times 100. Both of those are perfect squares. The square root of 4 is 2, so there's going to be a 2 outside. The square root of 100 is 10, so there'll be a 10 outside. And together outside they would multiply, so 2 times 10 would give you 20. And that's how you simplify a radical. Now we're going to practice a little more with the Pythagorean theorem. On the first one, it says A is 20 and B is 48. Find C. So that's 20 squared plus 48 squared equals C squared. 20 squared is 400. 48 squared is 2304. Add those up, you would get 2704 is equal to C squared. And now we take the square root of that. And you'll get 52 is C. Because in order to get C by itself and isolated and to remove the square, you have to take the square root. And that's why it's 52 is equal to C. All right, on number 11, it wants us to solve for x. X is not the hypotenuse in this case. X is a leg. So that would mean x squared plus 12 squared is equal to 13 squared. So that means x squared plus 144 is equal to 169. Subtract 144 on both sides, and you would get x squared is equal to 25. And now we got to take the square root of both sides to get x isolated completely, and therefore you would have x is equal to 5. Number 15 would like to know which number forms a right triangle with 24 and 25. Show your work. I should be able to take any one of these numbers and add it to 24 squared, and it should equal 25 squared. So 1 squared plus 24 squared is equal to 1 plus 576, which is equal to 577. And the square root of 577 is not 25. It's close. But at the end of the day, knowing some prior knowledge a little higher than some of yours, I know that the answer is going to be 7. Because again, 7 squared plus 24 squared will equal 49 plus, what did I say it was? 24 squared. Forgot that quickly. 576. And 576 plus 49 is going to give you 625. And the square root of 625 is 25, which is the last number. So that's why your answer is C. Now let's do some applications of Pythagorean theorem. On number 2, it says during a windstorm, a tree breaks 5 feet off the ground. The top of the tree touches the ground 12 feet away from the base of the trunk. What was the original height of the tree? So here's where the tree broke at 5 feet off the ground. So imagine that the tree was just a little bit taller. And when it broke, it was the top was 12 feet from the trunk, the trunk. So this long part is 12. It wants to know what the original height of the tree is. To find the original height of the tree, I would first have to find the hypotenuse, which is x, and then take that value and add it to 5 to get the correct final answer. So let's begin. So 5 squared plus 12 squared is going to equal x squared. That's 25 plus 144 is equal to x squared. 25 and 144 will equal 169. And the square root of 169 is going to equal 13. So that's the hypotenuse. But again, you still got to go back and add the 5 feet where it broke. So 13 plus 5, the original was 18 feet tall. Number 4. In order to get to grandmother's house, Little Red Riding Hood walks 6 miles north and 8 miles west. So let's draw this picture. She goes north and then west. So 6 up, 8 to the left. Okay. On her way home, she walks diagonally. What was the total distance she walked? How much shorter was her trip home? So the total distance, she went up 6, left 8. That would be 14, but we still need to find the diagonal first in order to get the total distance. So I'll call it x. So I know that 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to x squared. So that's 36 plus 81. Nope, sorry, 64. Equals x squared. And that would give me 100 equals x squared. And the square root of 100 is 10. So I know this missing side is 10. So the total distance she walked was 24 miles. How much shorter was her trip home? Originally, to get to grandma's house, she took 14 miles. It took 14 miles. When she cut across the diagonal, it only took her 10 miles. So that means 14 minus 10 is 4 miles shorter. Okay. On number 6, it wants us to determine the area of the rectangle shown below. The area of a rectangle formula is equal to length times width. So I'm missing the length of the rectangle. So in other words, I'm missing one of the legs of the right triangle. So let's say this is x, and again, this will also be 10 because it's a rectangle. So that means x squared plus 10 is equal to 26 squared. Sorry, I forgot my 10 squared. So that's x squared plus 100 equals 26 squared. 676. Subtract 100, you will have x squared equals 576. And I believe the square root of 576 is 24. But let me double check. Yes, 24. So that means the length is 24. And now to find the area, I need to take 24 times 10, which will give me 240 inches squared. Since you're dealing with area, you have to square your units. And this concludes your tutorial for today's lesson.